Okay. Mike and Bill were sailing across the ocean in search of paradise when up comes a big storm. In the middle of the night, their boat crashes on a reef and is completely demolished. The two young men struggle across the reef and manage to drag themselves half drowned up onto a tiny tropical island. The next morning, natives of the island discovered the two drenched and forlorn sailors and set about patching up their wounds, finding new clothes for them, bringing them food, and getting them comfortable. That evening, Mike and Bill are sitting around the fire having a meal with all the villagers. Mike keeps staring across the fire at one of the women serving the food. Finally, he says to his friend, "Bill, see that woman there? She is my woman." Bill says, "What? Did you drink too much salt water? Look at her. Her hair is a mess. She's all slumped over. She's got a big gap between her front teeth, and she's pissed off at everybody." But Mike says, "You look at her. She's so beautiful." "No, come on, man," implores Bill. "Forget it. Tomorrow we'll get out of here. We'll borrow an outrigger canoe and sail to a bigger island where we can catch a ride back home and you can find yourself a real woman." "No way," says Mike deliberately. "I am not leaving this place. I have found my woman. I am going to marry her and stay here the rest of my life." Bill can't believe what he's hearing. He starts shaking his friend. "You've gone nuts, Mike. Wake up! Wake up! What's gotten into you?" But Mike insists that he's staying. The next morning, Mike has not changed his mind. The next week, still the same. Finally, Bill builds himself a raft out of bamboo, makes a sail out of woven mats, and sails away, leaving Mike behind on the island. After Bill leaves, Mike goes to the chief of the tribe. "Hello, chief," he says. The chief just grunts. Mike continues. "Listen, chief, that woman, the one with the wild hair and the gap between her teeth, I am going to marry her." The chief says, "Well, in our village, if you want to marry a woman, you have to pay for her. Each woman has a different value, somewhere between 1 and 9 cows. That woman you want, you can have her for 3 cows. At this, Mike gets really angry. "That is not a 3-cow woman," he says. "That is a 9-cow woman." The chief starts laughing. "Her? Didn't you notice her slumped shoulders, the way she dresses, how she's pissed off at everybody? She isn't even a 3-cow woman. She's really only worth 2 cows. But I said 3, so we had a room to bargain." "No," Mike insists. "This is a 9-cow woman. I am going to marry her, and I'm going to pay 9 cows for her." The chief says, "You are not only stupid, you're crazy. I can't do this. If I do, the whole economy of women will be destroyed." He studies the stubborn look in Mike's eyes for a while and finally says, "Okay, you can do it. You can go ahead and pay 9 cows for her. I will just use you as an example of a stupid American." Mike says, "I don't care what you tell people, but I am paying 9 cows for this woman." He doesn't have any money, so it takes him over a year of hard work and helping a lot of people in order to earn the 9 cows. Then he and the woman get married. About a year after that, Bill comes sailing back to the island in his new sailboat. He tosses the anchor in the water, rows to shore, and walks into the village looking for his old buddy. When he sees a couple of natives, he says, "Hi, I'm one of the guys who crashed on your island a couple of years ago. Remember me?" You people took care of me and my friend Mike, remember? Yeah, they say. How you doing? Bill says, great. Hey, my friend Mike, is he still here? Whatever happened to him? The villagers point off down the beach and say, he lives in the house at the end of the path. Bill is really excited. He runs down the path to the house and knocks on the door. In a few moments, this beautiful woman opens it. Yes, she says. Bill just stares at her. Finally he says, I'm one of the guys who crashed on the reef a couple of years ago, and I'm looking for my friend Mike. Is he here? He figures maybe you knocked at the wrong house. Yes, he's right here. The woman says sweetly, standing aside, please come in. Bill walks up the steps. Mike sees him, and instantly the two buddies leap into each other's arms for bear hugs and laughs. They sit down and start swapping stories. The woman brings them fresh mango juice, then hot tea and a delicious abundant meal with spicy coconut cream vegetables and fresh fish over steamed rice. After a while, Bill says to Mike, hey, I have to ask you something. When we crashed here a couple of years ago, you went crazy. Remember that night when we were sitting by the campfire and you were looking at that impossible woman with the slumped shoulders and messed up hair? You said, that's my woman. Remember that? Mike says, yes, I remember. So whatever happened to her? Bill continues. I thought you'd lost your mind. You wouldn't come home with me. You stayed here because of that witch. Now you've got this great place in paradise, and you're living with this wonderful sexy island queen. I'm glad you sobered up. But what actually happened to that first lady? Mike points towards the kitchen and says, I married her. She opened the door for you. She cooked this meal for us. That's her. No way, says Bill. That's not her. That other woman was dressed in rags. Her spirit was ruined. She was skinny and pissed off at everybody. This is not her. Your woman is a goddess. She's gorgeous. She's radiant. She's full of love and confidence. Her eyes sparkle. This is not that other woman. You're lying to me. Mike says, no, I'm not lying. This is my 9-cow woman. Bill says, I don't believe you. Then Mike calls to his woman. Excuse me, Mary, he says, could you please come here and explain to my friend who you are? So she comes over and sits down at the table. She smiles at Bill with simple joy and says, yes, this is really me. And as she smiles, Bill can see the gap between her teeth, and he recognizes that it is her. He's stunned. I can't believe it, he says, shaking his head. What happened to you? I saw how you were back then. You were this skinny, angry, messed up woman. What happened? She points to Mike, smiles again, and says, it was this man here. He did it. What do you mean? Bill asks. Well, Mary says gently, ever since I was a little girl, I knew that I was really only a 2-cow woman. Everyone in the village, including my friends and family, also saw me and related to me as a 2-cow woman. Then along comes Mike saying that I'm worth 9 cows. At first I resist, but then he actually pays the 9 cows. 9 cows. For me. And when we get married, he organizes a 9-cow wedding ceremony. I wear a 9-cow wedding dress, me. And then he builds me this true 9-cow woman house. I see him sweating, sawing the wood, carrying boards, thatching the roof. I see that he totally trusts what he's doing for me. There is no doubt in him about who I am. Every evening, he would do the 9-cow rubber feet and shoulder ceremony. And every Saturday morning, he would spoil me with the 9-cow tea and breakfast in bed ceremony. At first I could not handle it. I was not very pleasant to be around. But I could not do anything to change his mind. Even now, he refuses to get off it. He talks with me only like you would speak to a 9-cow woman. In every way he treats me like a 9-cow woman. He even introduces me to people as a 9-cow woman. At some point, I could no longer disagree. I surrendered. My old opinion of myself fell away. I had no choice. I started experiencing myself through his eyes. I became a 9-cow woman. For a few moments, there is total silence. You could hear waves gently lapping against the white coral sand beach. Then Bill looks over at Mike and asks, "You did this to make her happy?" Mike says, "I did this because I wanted to live with a 9-cow woman."